Heyo, it's Heyo, and today we're playing a game called Spectral Phantasy. I've tried recording this a few times already, but I haven't gotten very far, so that's why I've got a couple things loaded up here, in the save. Just because I tried reading a few times, and I really couldn't, I just couldn't do it today, those days. It wasn't the best day. Anyway, warning, your choices have an effect, you know. What's your name? Your name. Oh, no, capital N. Your name! This was probably a terrible idea. You sighed to yourself as you clicked the lock button on your keys and gave one final grimace to the source of your current predicament. You had been driving home from a get-together at your friend's house when your car had started making an awful grinding noise akin to a broken chainsaw, causing you to pull over before your engine caught fire or something. No. Do not start thinking about chainsaws right now when you're currently stranded in the middle of the goddamn woods at 1 in the morning. You really should stop watching so many horror movies. You're enough of a paranoid person as it is. Pulling out the second source of grief out of your pocket, you check one final time to see the no service icon flashing at the top of your phone screen. Of course, your first instinct was to call someone to come pick you up and save you from this nightmare you found yourself in. But those hopes had been dashed quickly. The stretch of forest between your town and the neighboring one your friend lives in is notorious for being a dead zone. Figures this is where your trader's car would choose to break down, right? Like, why wouldn't it? With another heavy sigh, you start your trek along the side of the road. You had debated sleeping in your car until the morning, but you knew the town was only a few miles from your current location, and it wouldn't take it a ridiculously long time to make it there. Besides, it's not like you'd suddenly have cell service in the morning anyways. You'd have to walk one way or another. Terrible idea, indeed. Yeah, I would have stayed in the car for the night. However, despite your present circumstances, it truly was a beautiful autumn night. The night sky was free of any clouds, allowing moonlight to illuminate the road ahead of you and eliminate the need for the emergency flashlight you had grabbed from the trunk of your car before you had left. That was a long sentence. It was easy to get lost in admiring the way the moonlight filtered in through the trees around you, or just how many stars were glittering in the sky above. There were worse nights your car could have chosen to break down, like in the middle of winter. Yeah. Still though, you are currently stuck walking along the road in the middle of the forest. Give and take. It was so easy to get caught up in stargazing, in fact, that you nearly jumped straight out of your skin when you had to slap a hand over your mouth to stifle a small shriek when you heard a stick crack in the woods off to your side. That was fine. It's the woods. There's nocturnal animals. Noises are normal. Animoises. Animoises. You repeated that to yourself like a mantra as you continued your hike, now on high alert to the various sounds of the trees on either side of the road. Every time a branch would break or rustling could be heard from the dense underbrush, your walking would speed up until you were nearly jogging. Your heart was hammering near painfully in your chest as paranoia began to ram rampant in your mind of all the terrible things that could be lurking just out of sight in the trees around you. Just as you were about to call it quits and run screaming back to your car, you saw a break in the trees just ahead of you. That's right, you almost forgot. It was a decent popular urban legend amongst the teens in your town, and you were used to hearing stories about it growing up from kids you went to school with. Blairwood Manor, a giant Victorian-era mansion that's been left abandoned in the forest by your town for God knows how many decades now. No one knows who owns it, nor has anyone seen any for sale signs outside, to your knowledge. According to the legend, the manor is haunted. You know, like every other abandoned mansion there is on the planet. That's simply a fact of life. Grass is green, the sky is blue, and abandoned mansions are haunted. It's not uncommon for teenagers to dare each other to spend a night in Blairwood Manor. One of your classmates even took up the challenge after his friend had bet him $20 he couldn't last the night. From what you heard, he didn't even last an hour before he was running out the front doors. Coward! You weren't incredibly superstitious yourself, so you weren't ever terribly concerned with the manor. If anything, it'd be fun to investigate from an urban exploration perspective. Love urban exploring. I love it. I love abandoned places. Well, apparently that time is now. You'd much rather take your chances waiting out the night in the manor rather than enduring another minute of your brain plaguing you with images of mountain lions charging at you from the trees to rip your throat out. Where do we live if there's mountain lions? After briskly turning onto the dirt path, you could already see the looming shape of the manor from in between the gaps of the trees. You slip your way through the gap in the rusted iron gates that mark the entrance to the property, the metal emitting a shrill shriek into the darkness around you, causing you to wince. Ooh, look at this pretty manor. Beautiful. Who wouldn't want this? It's huge! It was impossible to not acknowledge the beauty of the manor, now that you were standing right in front of it. The dog's getting up and I don't know what she wants. Hello, Nina. Oh, you see the bug? Yeah, there's this weird looking fly thing flying around my place, and that scares me. I don't know what it is, and it's scaring me. I tried killing it with the fly swatter, but I couldn't get it. It's not a fly, I'll tell you that. It looks like an ant, but it's not an ant. Okay, I'm sorry. Modern buildings truly do pale in comparison to the architecture like this. No kidding. Every little detail, all the way from the intricate designs carved into the wooden doors, to the elegant swooping metal of the porch railings, had clear love poured into their creation. It's a shame it's abandoned, you thought. Left to rot out here in the woods like this. You'd love to call a place like this your home. Well, after some major repairs and TLC, that is. As beautiful as the manor was, there was no glossing over the fact that most of the visible windows were either cracked or shattered completely. Wooden planks had been haphazardly nailed across the broken windows, most growing moss and showing clear signs of weathering. No one had come here to perform maintenance in a very long time, it seemed. After making your way up the cracked stone stairs, you find yourself standing in front of the doors to Blairwood Manor, and are suddenly hit with a new wave of apprehension. Were you really going to do this? It still wasn't too late to go back to sleep in your car until the morning. But that requires making the hike all the way back through the dreaded forest that put you on the front porch to the manor to begin with. Now, you were getting anxious. What were you getting anxious for, anyways? Teenagers come here all the time, and no one has ever gotten hurt to your knowledge. Besides, ghosts weren't real, just a bunch of dumb stories kids tell each other to get scared for fun. Alright, enough of the mental gymnastics with yourself. You're going in. Much to your surprise, the front doors swing open with relative ease. The ancient hinges give a groan in protest, announcing your presence to the empty manor. You were expecting the front doors to be locked, though at the same time, you really didn't feel like looking for another entrance by hauling yourself through a window or something. You pull the emergency flashlight out of your backpack and click it on, the beam of light flickering precariously a few times before mercifully staying on. Taking your first few hesitant steps in the manor, you sweep the flashlight beams around the room and survey your surroundings. Okay, I think this is where I got to the last time where I saved. It was on this area right here, so from here on, this is all gonna be stuff I've never read yet. So, the room you find yourself in seems to be the dog's hitting me. Seems to be the foyer. A large, wooden doubled staircase can be seen at the back of the spacious room, leading up to what seems to be a small landing. At the base of the staircase, there's a set of double doors, which presumably leads to the rest of the first floor. There isn't much furniture in this room, just a small settee and a few tables placed here and there. What the hell's a settee? However, a large, elegant carved mirror in the corner of the room does give you a fright when your flashlight beam passes over it, causing the glass to flash back at you. We're a coward. It's rather impressive that this place seems completely untouched, you think to yourself. There's no graffiti like you expected to find from such a popular teen hangout spot, and even weirder is that all the furniture is still here. Surely such nice antique pieces would fetch a decent price to sell. What doesn't surprise you, however, is the sheer amount of dust. Every visible surface is coated in a thick blanket of it, and dust motes can be seen floating lazily through the air in the silver beams of moonlight streaming through the windows. You can even make out footprints in the dust on the floor from previous visitors. Well, since you were stuck here for the rest of the night, you might as well explore a bit more. Where to first? Ooh! Oh, we could pick! Ooh, what do we pick? How about we save? Enter the set of the double doors between the set of stairs or head up the staircase. Let's start downstairs. Your hand turns the elegant-shaped metal handle on one of the double doors, and it swings inwards to reveal a long, dark hallway that leads further into the manor. Ooh! The walls of the hallway are lined with sconces? Surprisingly still holding half-burned candlesticks, and the wooden floor is covered with an elegant-looking red carpet. More wooden doors, similar to the ones you just entered, are spaced evenly down both sides of the hallway. There looks to be about 6 rooms in total. Wow, this place is massive. Rich people are on a whole other level. You try the doorknobs as you make your way down the hall. Odd, all the rooms so far are locked. Just as you reach for the doorknob of one of the last rooms in the hall, you hear a wooden clattering sound from behind you, causing your entire body to jump in surprise. Quickly spinning around, you see the source of the noise. One of the large frame paintings that had been decorating the wall of the hallway had fallen to the floor. It's not entirely outside the realm of possibilities, you supposed. Blairwood Manor was ancient, after all. You walking around probably just disturbed it enough to fall off its hook. A nice, rational explanation. No way were you going to buy into all the ghost stories about this place. Your paranoia would drive you to insanity if you started thinking like that. You turn your attention back to the door in front of you, and once again reach out to try the doorknob. Oh, it's not locked. The door swings open easily and you step inside, sweeping your flashlight around the room. Ooh, where are we? Is this the dining room? Oh, okay. It looks like a large dining room. There's a long wooden table in the center of the room, with matching chairs arranged around it. Definitely bigger than any dining room you've been in before. A beautiful crystal chandelier hangs above the tables, candles still present in their holders. You pull out the chair at the head of the table and take a seat. Imagine what it would have been like to have dinner in such a fancy room. What a gorgeous place to have a meal. Suddenly your eyes catch movement from the far end of the room, and your head snaps to look up. Oh, it was the drapes framing one of the windows. You could spot a large hole in the glass. It was probably just a breeze. You let out the breath you didn't even realize you were holding, and try to will your heartbeat to return to a normal level. Jeez, look at you getting all worked up like this. The stories about this place were really getting to you, apparently. Calm down, Name. It's just an old house. Pulling out your phone, you briefly check to see you still don't have any luck with service before opening up an app. Might as well relax here for a bit while you wait for the morning. A few minutes go by and you're fully absorbed in your phone, so when you suddenly hear a short series of wooden creaking noises from behind you, you drop your phone in surprise and it clatters loudly on the table. Giving the room a quick scan, you don't see anything out of place. Maybe it's just the house settling. Houses do that, right? Slowly, you reach for your phone and slide it back into your pocket, while you wait to see if you hear anything else. There it was again. A sharp pang of fear grips your chest as you realize what the noise sounded like. It wasn't just a foundation creaking. It sounded exactly like quick footsteps running across the wooden floor. In an instant, you sprang to your feet and bolt out of the room, and back into the hallway before slamming the door behind you. No, absolutely not dealing with that. You stay there in the hallway, watching the door for a few minutes until you're convinced nothing is going to chase you. Maybe you just thought it sounded like footsteps. Ugh, your paranoia is acting up again. You're letting yourself get all worked up for nothing. Though maybe a change of scenery would do you some good. You find another unlocked door down the hallway from the dining room and step inside. Oh, wow, I like how the rooms are all, like, they actually have rooms. They show you. It seems to be a comfortable parlor room. Plush-looking velvet chairs and couches are arranged around a wooden table in the center of the room. Much to your surprise, there was even a tea set displayed neatly on the table. Most of the walls are covered in large windows, framed by heavy velvet drapes, allowing moonlight to shine in and illuminate the room better. Perhaps you'll hang out in this room for the night and wait for morning. It's very inviting, a good place to relax and get your mind off the events from the dining room. You make your way over to one of the couches and brush aside some of the dust before making yourself comfortable. The couch is every bit as soft as it looks. As you go to admire the room some more, your flashlight beam all of a sudden starts to flicker. Ugh, stupid old thing. You knew it wasn't going to last the whole night. You slap the plastic side of it a few times before it miraculously decides to stay on. Thank God. As if on cue, the beam cuts out. Before you even had a chance to smack it again, your attention snaps to the table in front of you in an instant. Did that teacup just move? You stare at it intensely for a few minutes before rolling your eyes with a sigh. This place is really messing with your head. It's just an old mansion. There's no such thing as ghosts. Scratch that. The teacup is floating. Well, you feel your chest tighten up in fear as you sit there, too paralyzed by terror to move, as the teacup hovers innocently a few inches above the table in front of you. Helpless to do anything but watch, you stare wide-eyed at the teacup as the teacup lazily floats closer to you until it's right in front of your face. Then, just as suddenly as it happened, the teacup drops harmlessly onto your lap. Before your poor panic-stricken brain even had a chance to process what just happened, you heard an echoing laugh ring out into the room, causing the blood in your veins to turn to ice. That's it. Your stay in the manor is officially over. You really regret giving your classmates so much shit for buying into all the ghost stories about Blairwood Manor back when you were still in school. Maybe if you had believed that, you wouldn't be in this situation right now. Without waiting to see what other nightmare Blairwood Manor had in store for you, you jumped to your feet and scrambled to get to the door. No. It's locked. You uselessly try to turn the doorknob as your brain starts trying to work out another way out of the room. This is the first floor. You could probably throw something to break a window and climb out. You spare a brief glance down the useless flashlight that's still clutched in your hand. That could work. What, you're not in the mood for tea? A voice calls out from somewhere in the room behind you, amusement clearly evident in its tone, ripping you out of your thoughts and sending a chill down your spine. Throw the flashlight at the window. Throw the flashlight at the source of the voice. Can we save again? Heck yeah, we're gonna throw it at the voice. You quickly turn on your heels and muster up all the strength you can manage despite your fear, and whip the flashlight at the figure now present in the room with you. Said figure lets out a sharp cry and ducks just moments before the flashlight goes sailing above its head and smashes into the wall. What's wrong with you? Oh, that's not the terrifying ghost your brain was imagining in its paranoia. The figure crouched on the floor in front of you looks like an ordinary boy. Why did I say boy like that? Probably close to your age, if you had to guess. The only thing off about him is the sickly pallor of his skin, and the slight transparent quality to his form. He's giving you a wide-eyed, incredulous look, seemingly waiting on an answer from you. Oh, I thought you were going to kill me. It was self-defense. An awkward cough leaves your mouth as you answer lamely. Oh, look at this cutie. What? No, I wasn't going to kill you. I don't even want to hurt you. Aw, I just wanted to have a little fun and scare you a bit. That's all. The ghost looks at the wall and sighs to himself before turning his gaze back to you with an apologetic smile on his face. I'm sorry. Let me start over. I'm Cyrus. He holds out a slightly see-through hand for you to shake. Escape out the door or shake his hand. Come on, we're gonna save again. I'm enjoying this. Shake his hand! You quickly reach out and grasp Cyrus's hand into your own. The contrast of his cold skin against yours sends a shiver up your arm. I'm Name. He brightens up immediately and happily shakes your hand before letting go. Nice to meet you. And again, I'm sorry if I scared you. If I scared you too badly. It's just been so long since I've had a visitor. I got a bit overexcited. He let out an awkward laugh and rubs the back of his neck. Apology accepted. I could have gotten hurt. We're not gonna say it. We're gonna save, but we're not gonna say could have gotten hurt. It's fine. No harm done. Well, physical harm at least. My mental state has definitely taken a few blows. You chuckle and give him a grin of your own to ease any leftover tension in the room, and you're pleased to hear him laugh along with you. Geez, to think this was the big scary ghost you were so terrified of, not even 10 minutes ago. So, you like scaring people. For fun. I am a ghost. That's kind of our thing, isn't it? A fond smile appears on his face as he continues. I mean, most of the visitors I get are people looking to get scared. I like putting on a good show for them. That did make sense, you supposed, given all the urban legends around Blairwood Manor. Teens purposely came here with the hopes of getting scared. It was practically like a Halloween attraction. It's all fun for me too. It gets boring here. Fam, I live in Ohio where, we've got the most Halloween attractions every year. It's the best thing ever. The ghost's voice took on a bitter tone, and he keeps his eyes downcast, so you could sense that there was more to it than that. That's why I try to keep the stories going, so people tell their friends and I get more visitors. Cyrus, are you lonely? Cyrus's head abruptly snaps to stare at you with wide eyes before you seem to quickly recover and let out a small laugh. Lonely? Of course not. I'm a ghost. Being alone is kind of our thing. He waved off your question with another awkward laugh and coughed into his fist to compose himself. Besides, I have people that visit to keep me company. If only 1 or 2 people visit a month, or that a handful over the decades have ever stayed to talk with me after I reveal myself. I'm definitely not bothered when I say hi and they run screaming out the front door. Nope, not at all. So basically what you're telling me is that you're lonely. He brings his hands up to cover his face and muffles a small scream before then peeking out at you from above his fingers. Is it that obvious? It was impossible to stop a tiny grin from forming on your face at his actions. To think this was the big, scary ghost you were running from your life not even 20 minutes ago. He was kind of cute like this. I think most people would be lonely in your situation. I know I wouldn't be able to handle it. Are you not able to leave the mansion, then? This causes an annoyed frown to cross Cyrus's face as he crosses his arms. No, my spirit is confined to the property. I've come to the conclusion that it's because I died here. He throws his arms up in frustration. I don't know, it's not like I have a handy little notebook that tells me about how to be a ghost. You tap a finger to your chin, wondering where you could go from here. You'll oddly find yourself wanting to cheer him up. The sheer irony. Yeah, he scared the hell out of you and nearly gave you a heart attack, but he clearly isn't a bad person. Just lonely. You could have imagined being alone for as long as Cyrus has. You couldn't imagine being alone for as long as Cyrus has. He can't even leave to go exploring in the world. Being a ghost sucks. Oh, if you can't leave the mansion, then how about you show me around the mansion? Oh, well, I said mansion and it wasn't there. Whatever. Where do you like to hang out? Cyrus stares at you dumbfoundedly for a few moments before his expression morphs into a huge smile. Really? Oh, look how cute he is. If you're really interested, I could show you the library. It's my favorite room in the whole mansion. A magic smile makes its way to your face and you gesture towards the door and nod. This place is a personal library? That's awesome. You'd love books, especially antique ones. Lead the way. Cyrus eagerly makes his way to the door, and instead of opening it, his body passes right through the wood. Right. Ghost. Not even a moment later, the door swings open to reveal a clearly flustered Cyrus. His pale cheeks are even tinted a bit red. Oh, that's adorable. Sorry. Force I have it. Follow me. Okay, you're adorable. The two of you make your way back down the hallway you initially came in and through the double doors back into the foyer. He leads you up the staircase and you take a moment to admire the foyer from your higher vantage point. Cyrus leans on the railing next to you and shoots you an easy grin. Pretty, right? When I was a kid, one of my favorite things to do was sliding down the staircase railings. My parents hated it. You nod before looking over to meet his eyes. You grew up here. Lived here my entire life. Well, and afterlife now, I suppose. It'd be a lie to say you weren't curious about his past, but you didn't want to pry right now. Probably considered rude to ask a ghost what their life was like before they, well, you know. Anyways, the library is right down this hallway. You follow Cyrus in silence, neither of you saying anything until you reach another beautifully carved wooden door down the hall. Everything in this manor must cost a fortune. You wonder if Cyrus will let you take a vase home to pay off your student loans. Here we are! He swings the door open to reveal the library. It was huge. Nearly every available wall was lined with bookshelves full of more volumes than you could ever hope to count. A sizable stone fireplace was nestled between the two of the bookshelves, the soft-looking velvet couch facing each other in front of it. Perfect place to relax with a good book. Cyrus stood back in the doorway and smiled as he watched you slowly walk around the room and admire everything. You walk up to one of the massive bookshelves and run your fingertips along the spine of one of the books in awe. This is amazing. I've never been inside a private library. Oh, here. Let me make it a little more welcoming in here. In a flash, a roaring fire is going in the fireplace, and you quickly turn to stare at Cyrus with your mouth agape. He sends a smug smirk your way in return. Ghost powers. I've had a lot of time to learn. Though I rarely bother with candles or the fireplaces. I can see in the dark just fine. Anyways, he claps his hands together. I've got a deal for you. I'll let you take any of these books you want, and in exchange, you'll have to tell me more about yourself. He shoots you a playful grin and gestures to the books you were admiring a second ago. I saw how your face lit up looking at everything. Pretty good deal, right? I suppose I could agree to those terms. What do you want to know? Anything you want to share, though. I'm curious how you ended up here in my home to begin with. Here, come get comfortable. He moves to sit down on one of the couches in front of the fireplace, and gestures for the other couch opposite of him, sending a welcoming smile your way. Sit down or stay standing? Why would we stay standing? We're gonna sit. We're not gonna save. Returning a smile, you sit down on the couch across from him, the plush cushion sinking comfortably under you. So, you want to know how I ended up here, right? Cyrus nods eagerly. Of course, you're the first visitor I've had in... He trails off, mumbling numbers under his breath before waving his hand. Never mind, it doesn't matter. You're the first in a long time that hasn't run out the front door in fear by this point. So I'd love to hear more about you. I clearly don't get out much. You politely declined to mention that you did in fact try to run out the door in fear. You don't want to hurt his feelings. Well, for starters, you explain all about how your trader's car broke down and how you had a paranoia-filled hike along the side of the road until you ended up at Blairwood Manor's front gates. I figured an abandoned mansion would be a better place to wait out the night rather than run all the way back to my car. An awkward laugh escapes you as you finish recounting the events of the night. It sounded ridiculous now that you were saying out loud to someone. So, you willingly came into an unknown haunted mansion because you were afraid of some completely normal noises in the woods? Immediately your hands come up to cover your face and you let out an embarrassed scream. Somebody kill you now. I thought I was going to get mauled by a bear or something. That's a completely natural reaction. You know what? I think I'd rather you be a scary murderous ghost. Please end my pitiful existence. This causes Cyrus to burst into laughter and holds his sides. He tries to speak several times but can't manage to get any words out. He calms down after a few moments and wipes a tear from his eye. I'm sorry, really. I haven't joked with someone like this in forever, you understand. Please continue. You feign a glare at him before continuing with your conversation. The two of you talk for a long time, discussing your life, how you spent your days, what your hobbies are, even your favorite ice cream flavor. You don't even talk to your friends about your personal life this much. For whatever reason, talking to Cyrus is easy. Maybe because he's a ghost and doesn't get to experience everyday life anymore? What a sad existence. Cyrus listens intensely the entire time. He seemed genuinely interested in your life and how things are in the outside world, asking questions here and there about various things. When you run out of things to talk about, he chuckles and gestures to the rest of the library. Gestures, I don't know why I keep saying that wrong. I'd say you more than earned the books. Thank you for sharing with me. I really enjoyed hearing about everything. He goes quiet for a moment, seeming to be lost in thought before his red eyes meet yours. Would you like to hear about me in return? I'll answer any questions you have. I'm not really interested. No, as long as you don't mind. Of course I don't mind. You were kind enough to talk about yourself for this long. It's the least I can do. Alright then. For starters, we'll see. Maybe I'm gonna ask what his life was like when he was alive. I'm really curious about the time period you were alive in. I could honestly go on for hours about it. Things are so different now compared to back then. It really is amazing how much changes in nearly 200 years. He talked for a long time about all the changes he witnessed, electricity becoming widely used, and subsequently all the rapid changes in technology with it. To your surprise, he knows all about cell phones, thanks to previous visitors. He talks about the amazing advancements made in medicine and how illnesses that were considered a death sentence in his time were easily treatable now, or nearly wiped out completely. I think my favorite thing is the music. I mean, you have hundreds of songs right at your fingertips. It's amazing. Do you want to hear some? Things were so different back then. We're not going to ask this just in case they do play some copyrighted music. It's hard to comprehend. I'm glad things have improved so much now, truly. So was there anything else you wanted to know? Oh, okay, good, so we can't ask. If that's too uncomfortable of a topic, you don't have to answer. Cyrus is quick to put a hand up to stop you. No, it's fine. After this long, I don't mind discussing that topic anymore. There was a time where I wouldn't have wanted to even think about the fact that I was dead. I was bitter and resentful about it for a long time. I mean, here I am stuck, helpless to do anything as I'm forced to watch my family grieve my death. He takes a shaky breath to steady himself and pauses for a few moments before he continues. I tried so hard to communicate with them. I didn't get a hold of my new abilities until long after they had moved out and left me. For a moment you were worried he was going to break down right then and there. This topic was clearly not something he was comfortable talking about. Just as you opened your mouth to stop him, he started talking again, his soft voice now taking on a resentful tone. I used to take it out on potential buyers for the manor after my family moved out and sold it. He narrows his eyes and stares at the fireplace as he continues. I never hurt anyone, but I always made sure to scare them so badly they'd never come back. That's why no one ever bought it. I couldn't handle seeing my family move on without me and new people move into my home. You two sit in silence as you try to find the right words to say to him. I don't think I would have reacted any better, honestly. I can't even imagine everything you went through. I'm sorry, Cyrus. His expression softens as he regards you. You're a sweet person, Name. Thank you. He takes a moment to gather his thoughts before continuing. I died of scarlet fever in 1862. One of the maids caught it and it ended up spreading throughout the manor staff before it finally came to me. I didn't even last 2 nights. My parents called in every doctor of the town and tried to save me, but I was 19. I should have been old enough to fight it off. It was only supposed to be fatal to children. A bitter laugh escapes his lips and you're overcome with a strong urge to comfort him. Sit next to him or hug him. We'll save. We're gonna hug him. He needs comfort. Without a word, you quickly move from your spot and take a seat next to him on the couch before quickly wrapping your arms around him. You'll feel Cyrus tense up in your arms as his hands grip the hem of his sweater. You don't have to keep talking about this if you don't want to. Suddenly, you feel Cyrus's arms wrap around you as he returns your hug. You give him a soft squeeze before letting go. As you meet his eyes, you see that he's holding back tears, but his lips are curved into a grateful smile. Thank you. I really did think I'd be fine talking about it. I'm sorry. I promise I'm fine now. Was there anything else you'd like to ask me? I guess we're good. He nods before reaching his arms up in a stretch. Well, if you're curious about anything else, don't hesitate to ask. Sure, same goes for you about me. Thanks, I appreciate it. So, how'd you like to continue our tour? I could show you another room if you'd like. Sounds good. I'd like that. Cyrus grins as he hops off the couch and holds the door to the library open for you. After you, my dear. Aw, how adorable. A small blush creeps up on your cheeks at his joking words, and you quickly make your way out into the hallway. Oh my god, no, you're not going to start crushing on a ghost. Even if he was pretty cute, you weren't blind. Cyrus, oblivious to the brief mental battle you were having with yourself, walks past you and leads the way down the hall until he reaches another door. Just a second. His spectral form glides right through the closed door and you hear the lock click from inside before the door swings open and he once again holds it open for you. Oh, do you mind if I ask why some of the doors seem to be locked? Oh, it's just because there are rooms I don't want people going into when they visit. Some have some sentimental things, and I want to keep from getting broken, or others are just too much of a mess to let anyone in. He grins sheepishly as you walk past him into the newly opened room. This one seems to be a cozy little sitting room. More velvet furniture is placed around the room with tea tables scattered here and there. A large harp sits in front of the window, and you briefly wonder if Cyrus knows how to play. In a flash, all the candles in the room are lit, giving everything a warm glow. Make yourself at home. This is another one of my favorite rooms. The amount of times I've fallen asleep on the couch. During the day, the sunlight hits it perfectly and makes the best napping spot in the entire manor. He chuckles to himself before moving to sit down on said couch. Without even thinking about it, you find yourself sitting down with him. His red eyes wander in surprise as he stares at you, and you think you could even see a faint pink tint to his pale lips, or cheeks. Shit, he really is cute, isn't he? As I was saying, my sister and I often chose this room to play hide and seek. The manor is so big, we came up with rules to restrict what rooms we could play in and keep it fair. He rests his chin on his hand as he gazes out the window, a fond expression on his face. You're curious about his family, but you don't want to accidentally upset him again. You'll let him talk about it when he feels like it. Running from you early kind of felt like a game of hide and seek. I'm a master at hide and seek. We'll save again. Well, in a horror movie kind of way. It was kind of exhilarating looking back on it now, though, like the rush you get from a roller coaster. Cyrus raises an eyebrow, as a mischievous grin crosses his face, and you find your own heat up in return. Really? In that case, in an instant, his form vanishes from next to you. You quickly scan the room, but don't see him anywhere. You open your mouth to call out from him, but before you can, you suddenly feel a chilly breath on your ear, and a voice whispers from behind you. Boo! A shrill scream tears itself out of your mouth as you clutch your chest, your heartbeat going a mile a minute. Wow, you're such a coward. That was uncalled for. You turn to lightly smack his shoulder as he bursts into laughter at your reaction before returning to a seat next to you on the couch. I'm sorry, I couldn't resist. I'm a ghost. What do you expect? Despite the fear you felt from his prank, the blush across your cheek refuses to go away. If anything, they've turned a darker shade of pink. You really hope Cyrus doesn't notice and the dim lighting works in your favor. The smile fades off his face, replaced by one of mild concern as he observes you. I didn't actually scare you, did I? Come on, look at me. Are you alright? I'm fine. Or turn your head farther away from him. I'm fine. You didn't scare me. Don't worry. The answer comes out too quickly to be natural, and you cough into your fist to hopefully hide it. Cyrus hums thoughtfully and tilts his head as he examines your face. Suddenly, his own expression lights up as he seemingly reaches a conclusion for himself, a teasing grin appearing on his lips. Nay, do you perhaps enjoy me scaring you? That's it, you're going to find the nearest heavy object and bash your head into it. You'd rather die than face his mortification. You stare at him wide-eyed for a few moments as your mouth opens and closes, but unable to say anything. Admit it, or try to lie? Admit it. Fine, you win. A heavy sigh escapes your lips and you cross your arms across your chest. You sure as hell weren't going to admit the reason you enjoyed it is because he was attractive, however. That was coming with you to the grave. Well, you're certainly the first guest I've ever had blush over me scaring them. Despite the confident tone of his voice, Cyrus's own face seems to have turned a dark pink over the conversation. Yeah, well, it helps you're so nice to look at. Realizing what he had just blurted out without thinking, you quickly slap your hands over your mouth and stare at Cyrus in horror, expecting him to tease you more. Much to your surprise, Cyrus is staring at you, mouth agape, with the same mortified expression. His entire face is bright pink from what you could tell in the dim candlelight. He quickly recovers and averts his eyes from yours to stare out the window before mumbling nearly unintelligibly under his breath. You're incredibly cute yourself, you know. Tease him or thank him? Aw, we'll thank him. Your lips curve into a gentle smile as you regard him. Thank you, Cyrus. An embarrassed whine escapes his lips as he turns further away from you. Then all of a sudden, his form faces through the couch and into the wooden floor below you. Before you can react, he quickly flies up through the floor and takes a spot back on the cushions. If possible, his face is even more red. I have a hard time controlling that when I'm flustered. This pulls a warm laugh from you as you smile at him. He really is adorable. You never thought you'd feel like this over a ghost, of all things. Kiss his cheek or hug him. Aw, give him a little kiss. Before you change your mind, you lean in close and press a soft kiss to his cold cheek. He reacts with what can only be described as a squeak in surprise as his hand quickly flies up to cover the spot your lips just brushed. Cyrus stares down at his lap for a bit before raising his bright eyes to meet yours, a fragile smile on his lips. Thank you, Name. I've never, even when I was live, I didn't. He trails off, taking a few more moments to collect his thoughts before speaking again. I just want you to know that I appreciate you. I can't tell you how glad I am that you ended up here. That I got to meet you. The last part comes out quieter, his voice soft, but you catch it all the same. I never thought I'd be thankful to end up in a haunted mansion, but I agree. You laugh at your own joke, before your tone turns soft to match his. I'm glad I got to meet you too, Cyrus. The two of you sit in silence for a while, neither of you wanting to break the gentle moment you just shared. After a bit, Cyrus speaks up, his tone mischievous again. Okay, so did you want to play a round of hide and seek? We still have a little longer before morning after all. Though I have to warn you, I don't think you're going to win. I've had 200 years to learn all the best hiding spots. Hide and seek with a ghost, huh? Well, that's certainly not something you'd ever thought you'd be doing. Why not? You're on. I don't think you're going to win so easily, though. Cyrus's expression brightens at your answer as he hops up from the couch. Alright, I'll give you 10 minutes to hide. Any unlocked rooms in the manor is fair game. Any questions? You contemplate this for a moment. It certainly seemed fair enough. Can we set a time limit? If you don't find me in, let's say, half an hour, I win. Half an hour? You're not going to last 10 minutes. Pretty confident for someone who's going to lose, Cyrus. He laughs out loud and gives you a fond grin. You're a blast to be around. Alright, do you have a timer on your phone? Oh yeah, let me set it for us. Take out your phone and set a timer for 10 minutes before leaving it on the table in front of the couch for Cyrus. Alright, it started. I'm off. The phone will chime when the timer is up. You spin on your heels and quickly make a dash for the door. However, Cyrus's voice tops you as you throw it open. Name, I sincerely hope you find a good hiding spot. It would be boring if I caught you too quickly. His tone turns darker, a teasing smirk on his lips. It sends a chill of something other than fear down your spine, and you feel your face grow hot. Without a reply, you dash out the door and shut it loudly behind you. Which direction do you want to go? Downstairs, across the hall to the other wing of the manor. I don't know. How about we go to the other wing of the manor? You quickly make your way across the upper level of the foyer and into the hallway on the other side. Finding an unlocked door, you slip inside and shut the door as quietly as you can manage, not wanting to give Cyrus any hints to which direction you went. You're gonna win this. You sure will. The room you find yourself in seems to be a guest room from the looks of it. A large four-posted bed sits up against the wall, and not much else is in the room save for a dresser and a few chairs. You might as well go full horror movie and hide under the bed. At least the bed skirt would help Cyrus from spotting you if he happened to check in here. Careful not to make too much noise, you drop to the floor and ease yourself under the bed. Thankfully, it was clean other than dust. You didn't think about mice or spiders. Just as you shifted the bed skirt back into place, you hear the faint chime of your phone going off from the other wing of the manor. Wow, 10 minutes went by fast. Shortly after the alarm shut off, you heard Cyrus's playful voice call out into the otherwise silent manor. Ready or not, here I come. You couldn't stop the grin from creeping onto your face. This was fun, and not a bit anxiety-inducing knowing you were hiding from a ghost. Minutes tick slowly by as you listen to the sound of Cyrus checking various rooms in the other wing. Doors opening and closing, his voice occasionally calling out for you. I'm gonna find you! After a while, the sound of a door clicking open sounded in the hallway outside your room. Oh no, it was only a matter of time before you checked the room you were currently in. Hopefully your spot would be good enough to save you. Actually, now that you thought about it, why was Cyrus bothering with opening the doors at all? He was a ghost. He could just phase right through them. Unless he wanted to purposely unnerve you by letting you know where he was looking for you. Jerk. Your thoughts were interrupted by the terrifying noise of the metal knob to your door being turned. Where are you, my cute little human? You nearly choked and quickly held a hand over your mouth, cheeks now glowing a soft pink in the darkness. The sound of Cyrus moving throughout the room and checking behind various pieces of furniture were nearly inaudible over the sound of your rapid heartbeat in your ears. Suddenly, the bed shifts above you and you hear Cyrus sigh. You held your breath as you imagined Cyrus bracing himself on the bed to check it. You didn't dare move a muscle. Geez, not in here either. Man really is good at hiding. You could almost picture the pout on his face based on his tone. Ah well, that's enough of a break. Back to looking. Thankfully, his soft footsteps move away from the bed and over to the side of the room. Once you heard the sound of the door opening and shutting once more, did you finally let out a breath you had been holding? Holy shit, that was way too close for comfort. Now all you had to do was wait here until the game ended and you could declare victory. Ha, so much for 10 minutes, huh? Suddenly you felt an icy hand grip your ankle, causing a scream to tear its way out from your throat. Actually, you lasted 12. Consider me impressed. You heard Cyrus burst into laughter as his hand released your ankle, and shortly, his spectral form phased through the bed and joined you to lay on the floor. He had an impossibly smug grin on his face. If it weren't so cramped under the bed, you'd reach over and swat at him. How? I heard you leave. This gets another laugh out of him and regards you with a raised brow, a grin never leaving his face. Aw, is that what you thought? His grin widens. Under the bed is the most obvious choice, isn't it? Even I know that. You stare at him incredulously for a moment before letting out a frustrated scream into your hands. That's bullshit! Cyrus falls into a new wave of laughter before moving out from under the bed and reaches a translucent hand out towards you. Come on, it can't be comfortable under there. Taking his hand with a grumble, you let him help you out from under the bed and stand up, brushing the dust off your clothes. If it makes you feel any better, you lasted longer than my sister ever did playing with me. At least you didn't try to hide behind a door or something. That's a terrible spot. You roll your eyes over dramatically, not all that annoyed that you lost anymore, and give him a grin of your own. Yeah, whatever. Good game, Cyrus. He happily returns it, expression impossibly bright. That was a ton of fun. Thank you so much, Name. Before you can react, Cyrus sweeps you up into his arms and twirls you in a brief, waltz-like move, ending with one hand clasping yours and the other on your waist. His eyes are closed in a joyful expression. His laughter is bubbling up from his chest. Your eyes go comically wide and you feel a blush spread all the way down your neck as you stare at him for a moment before your own laugh joins his. I had a lot of fun too. Thank you. Cyrus lets you go and you fall backwards onto one of the couches in the room. A smile still plastered on his face as he sighs. Oh, he lets you go and he falls back. Okay. I'm really glad I met you. Taking a seat next to him, you feel something tug at your chest as you admire his soft expression. Same here. I haven't enjoyed myself this much in a long time. You both fall quiet after that and simply enjoy each other's company for the short remainder of the night. Cyrus walks with you back to the foyer and outside into the front porch. It's a little weird seeing his semi-transparent form outside in the daylight. Well, congratulations on being the first to survive a night in Blairwood Manor. I wish I had a medal to give you. He chuckles to himself and gives you a soft grin. Same here, there's no way anyone is going to believe me about this. I just think I'm better off keeping my own little secret. If anyone asks, I'll just say I spent the night in my car. You should get home and rest. You must be exhausted. At the mention of sleep, you yawn and stretch your arms above your head. Definitely, I'm going to be asleep for the rest of the day, I swear. I have to be well rested for tonight, after all. You shoot him a playful wink and your expression bright. I'm coming back to visit you again. Cyrus's eyes go comically wide as he processes your words before he breaks out into a huge grin himself. Wait, are you serious? You're coming back? Duh, what did you think, I was going to leave you all by yourself? Cyrus's expression falls for a moment, and you're worried you said the wrong thing. I never had anyone come back. His voice was fragile, and for a moment it looked like he might tear up, but then a small smile makes its way into his face and he looks back at you. Thank you. There's no way I could ever repay you. Just coming back to visit me occasionally means more to me than you could ever possibly know. He's quiet for a few moments before his expression changes into something mischievous. You know you're stuck now, right? If I get too lonely, I'll be forced to lock you in with me for sleepovers. This is your fault for being so charming. You really have no one to blame but yourself. You burst into laughter, and a blush creeps its way onto your face, painting your cheeks pink. Does it count if locking me in Does it count as locking me in if I'm willingly stayed? You regard him for a moment, expression softening. I won't let you be lonely, Cyrus. I'll visit as often as I can, I promise. I'm gonna be on the edge of my seat all day waiting. Alright, I should really get going before I'm too tired to walk. But before I go... Ooh... we're gonna kiss the ghost. Yeah, hell yeah, we'll kiss the ghost. You reach up and place your hands on his cheeks before leaning up and press your lips to his. The contrast in temperature is sending a chill through you. Cyrus wraps his arms around you and pulls you close to him, seemingly unwilling to break the kiss first. After a few more moments, you two part. Both of your faces are flushed a soft pink. Bye, Cyrus. Well, for now, that is. The two of you share matching smiles. Cyrus raises his hand into a wave. Bye, name. See you later. You return his wave before turning on your heel and heading back down the path towards the road. When you reach the iron gates that mark the beginning of the property, you cast one final glance over your shoulder and see Cyrus blowing you a playful kiss from the porch. A giggle escapes your lips as you wave again before continuing your walk. Eventually, you make it back to your town and your home, where you call to get your car towed. You keep your promise and return to Blairwood Manor later that night and for many more nights to come. Ah, that was cute. I do want to see if there's other endings you could get, so we're gonna load up and maybe... I don't know which one we want to do. We've probably got a lot. We're gonna start with going upstairs now. Your hands turn the elegantly shaped... Wait, did I pick the wrong one? Head up the staircase. Yes. After climbing the staircase, you turn to briefly admire the foyer from your new vantage point. Just seeing one room so far, and you've already decided that this is one of the coolest places you've ever visited. Maybe you'll come back sometime during the day. The landing you now find yourself on continues to be both your left and your right, turning to hallways that lead to different wings of the manor. Which direction do you want to go? I always choose left first. You begin walking down the hallway to your left, your flashlight beam passing over door after door that line either side of the hallway. The hardwood floors are covered by an elegant red carpet that lines the entire entry of the hall, muffling your footsteps in an otherwise silent mansion. What's really surprising to you, however, is all the sconces that line the walls of the hallway seem to be containing half-burned candles. It's rare to find abandoned places like this that are the level of untouched. You try some of the doorknobs, finding them either locked or jammed. Odd, but not that surprising. Eventually, you pass a door that seems to be cracked open a bit, rather than shut like all the others. Just as your outstretched hand makes contact with the cool metal of the doorknob, however, you hear the unmistakable noise of a door farther down the hall creaking open, causing your entire body to jump and a chill to shoot down your spine. Investigate the noise or enter the room in front of you. Clearly, the ghost wants us to go this way. You swallow heavily as you turn towards the source of the noise, and against your better judgment, you start walking down the long hallway towards the now open door. Wow, I can't say I actually expected you to go for it. Are you really sure that's a good idea? The blood in your veins turns to ice as you stop dead in your tracks at the sound of an echoing voice coming from behind you, amusement clearly evident in its tone. Abruptly, you spin around, your heart hammering painfully in your chest. There's no one behind you. The hallway is completely empty. Without thinking, you run into the room in front of you and slam the door shut, scrambling to slide the lock into place. Shit, you could have run back to the foyer and out the front doors. You'd rather take your chances getting mauled by a bear in the woods than deal with a literal haunted mansion. Then again, that'd require getting closer to where the voice was coming from. You imagine getting torn apart by a ghost would somehow be worse than a bear. Damn, now you're really regretting giving your classmates so much shit for the stories about Blairwood back when you were still in school. It takes a solid minute or two before you can finally tear your terrified gaze away from the door, convinced that the voice you hear in the hallway wasn't going to chase you in here. Turning, you survey the new room that you found yourself in. Wow, you weren't experiencing a little horror movie. If you weren't experiencing a literal horror movie right now, you'd fall in love with this room. It was huge. Nearly every available wall was lined with bookshelves, full of more volumes than you could ever hope to count. A sizable stone fireplace was nestled between the two bookshelves. Okay, we've read this already. Okay, too bad the only thing on your mind was getting the hell out of this place. You bite your lip as you contemplate where you could go from here. There were no other doors in the library, leaving the only exit the one you came from. There was a window on the far side of the room, but you were on the second floor. You could spot what looked like a trellis outside. However, maybe you could scale down it into the yard below. Then again, it had to be ancient, just like the rest of the manor. You didn't trust the wood to be able to support your weight. After spending a bit longer, debating the pros and cons of broken legs, you decided to check the hallway again. Maybe the ghost was gone. Surely it would have come in after you if it was still there. Just as you reached the door to open it, you heard the sound of disembodied footsteps walking closer to the door, accompanied by an unnerving laugh. Coming out to play? Before your poor terror-stricken brain even has time to process that, you heard a loud thump from somewhere in the library behind you, causing a strangled cry to escape your lips. Spinning around, you see a heavy bookshelf on the floor in front of one of those bookshelves. A heavy-looking book on the floor. Sorry. Why did you even think a locked door would work? Ghosts can move through walls, name, you dumbass. Suddenly, another book flies off the shelf and skids across the floor, coming to a stop at your feet. That's it. You'd gladly risk the trellis over this awful situation you found yourself in. Without wanting to see any other paranormal nightmare the manor had in store for you, you rush for the window and throw it open, the crisp autumn air blowing your hair back. Right as you had gotten a foot out the window, however, a sharp cry rang out before you, and a panic-laced voice calls out, Whoa, hang on, I'm sorry, okay? This mansion doesn't need two ghosts. We're gonna save. Continue out the window. Screw whatever the hell was behind you. The ghost, you guess, whatever, you're not turning around to find out. You find a foothold on the trellis and carefully ease your body the rest of the way out the window. Before you can put your full weight on the trellis, however, you cry out in surprise as two chilly arms wrap themselves around your waist and yank you back through the window and into the library. You, along with what you assume is the ghost, go sprawling to the floor. Your elbows bang into the wooden floor painfully, but most of your fall was cushioned by the body beneath you. Ow. Rolling to the side, you push yourself to your knees before casting a glance at the figure beside you. Oh, well that's not the creepy, murderous ghost you were expecting. He looks like an ordinary boy. Probably close to your age if you had to guess. The only thing off about him is the sickly pallor of his skin and slight transparent quality to his form. He's laying on his back, still on the floor, rubbing his hand on the back of his head where you assumed he bumped it when you two fell backwards. Noticing you looking at him, he quickly sits up and looks you up and down with a worried expression on his pale face. Oh my god, are you okay? You stare at him incredulous for a few moments, your brain still trying to work through this whole insane situation. Yeah, I'm fine, but before you can finish your sentence, the ghost cuts you off with a sigh of relief and buries his face in his hands. That's good. Ugh, if my heart was still beating, I'm positive that would have stopped it. He lifts his head from his hands and gives you an exasperated look. I can't believe you seriously tried to jump out the window. That causes you to sputter for a moment before pointing an accusatory finger in his direction. Because I thought you were going to kill me. I was trying to escape. I wasn't going to kill you. Why would you even think that? I haven't laid a finger on you the whole time you've been here. You paused and contemplated his words for a moment as you climbed to your feet, the ghost doing the same. Well, you suppose he has a point. The only harm that's come to you since you've entered the manor has been purely mental damage. I mean, yeah, but your voice in the hallway was something straight out of a horror movie. I was expecting you to chase me down and eat my soul or something. This gets a snort out of the ghost and he gives you a small grin. Eating souls, that's a new one. No, I just wanted to scare you into the library to keep you here a little bit longer. I mean, it's only been like half an hour since you came in, right? The ghost grin turns into an apologetic smile as he holds his hand out to you. Sorry, let's start over. I'm Cyrus. Shake his hand. Okay, I want to see what happens if you run past him. Without a word, you quickly rush past him and out the door of the library, making your way back to the foyer you came in at. Screw it, you'd go back to sleep in your car. No way in hell were you dealing with an actual ghost. You cast one final glance over your shoulder at Blairwood Manor as you exit through the front doors to make sure you weren't being followed. Thankfully, it looks like the ghost, Cyrus, you guess, is going to let you go. You walk back along the road into your car oh my god. Your walk back along the road into your car is uneventful. In the morning, you call your parents to come rescue you. When did we get cell service? Unbeknownst to you, Cyrus stood in the window of one of the second-floor rooms, watching you until you were finally out of sight. A heavy sigh left him as he turned from the window and muttered bitterly, "There goes another one. Maybe I should just stop trying." Aw, neutral end. Oh no! Poor Cyrus. Oh, we're gonna load up again. I wonder if there's like a dangerous ending you could get. Like where you die. Let's do this one and turn around. Against your better judgment, you slowly turn to the source of the voice. You swear if some creepy, rotted, murderous corpse of a ghost was behind you, you were going to scream. Oh. The figure in front of you, yeah, we know what he looks like. Standing there with wide eyes, his arms still halfway extended, like he was about to reach out and grab you from the windowsill. When you fully turn around to make eye contact with him, he pulls his hands up in a placating manner and gives you an awkward smile. I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to scare you so much you'd actually consider throwing yourself out the window. That causes you to sputter for a moment before pointing an accusatory finger in his direction. Because I thought you were going to kill me. I was trying to escape. I wasn't going to kill you. We heard this. He's got a point. Movie, yeah. Eating Souls, that's a new one. I'm Cyrus. Let's shake his hand. You hesitantly reach out and grasp his hand, a chill shooting up your arm on how cold his skin is against yours. I'm Name. Cyrus's expression brightens considerably as he eagerly shakes your hand in his before letting go. Nice to officially meet you, Name. I'm really sorry about scaring you. Okay, it's been so long. Yeah, we've heard this. We're changing it up. Instead of saying, "Are you lonely?" Has anyone ever gotten hurt? A pained expression flashes across Cyrus' face, and he quickly shakes his head. No, of course not. I don't want to hurt anyone. You were the first person I've ever had that tried to literally jump out the window to get away. Most just run out the front door. A small awkward laugh falls from his lips as he shifts his eyes away from yours. It was clear that the question had hurt him and he was trying to brush it off with a joke. So you're stuck here then, aren't you? Cyrus visibly tenses before reluctantly looking back towards you. What do you mean? I'm assuming you can't leave the mansion. You can't pass on or whatever it's called, right? Pass on. A heavy sigh escapes Cyrus as he crosses his arms and frowns bitterly at the painting hanging on the wall. I don't even know how I would go about doing that, honestly. I mean, it's not like I have a handy little notebook that teaches me about being a ghost. He had a point. You'll want to find him. We want to cheer him up, and we've heard this. Okay, so asking him to show us around. Favorite room. I love it here in the library. It really is amazing. I've never been in a private library before. Here, let me make it a little more welcoming in here. Okay, there's the fire. Ghost powers, blah blah blah. Clasps his hands together. Okay, tell me more about yourself. It's kind of the same one. We'll stay standing. We'll be defensive. I'd rather stand. You cast a grimace at the couch, not exactly comfortable with the idea of letting your guard down around him. Cyrus is clearly hurt by your hesitation, but tries to mask it with a forced smile. That's perfectly fine, though. I want to ask. The smile fades from his face as he briefly looks down at the floor before meeting your eyes again. I could tell you're not very comfortable around me. Would you prefer I left you alone? You could stay here until morning and leave if that's what you want. I won't bother you at all. His voice shakes at the end, but he quickly covers it up with a cough, clearly not wanting to appear hurt. I think that's for the best. I was going to leave in the morning anyway. Cyrus's eyes widen briefly with pain written clearly across his face before he quickly gets up and heads to the door of the library. Alright then. Well, it was nice meeting you, Name. I'll leave you alone now. Goodbye. You barely catch the last word as he phases right through the closed door and off to another part of the mansion. Time passes quickly with all the books to read and your phone to play on. Before long, morning light is streaming through the window. The fire has long since died and is nothing more than smoldering embers in the hearth. With a stretch, you walk out of the library and make your way down the foyer and out the front doors. You cast one final glance at Blairwood Manor before heading down the path and back to the road, eventually making your way home and getting your car towed. Unbeknownst to you... Okay. Oh! Cyrus stood in the window of one of the second-floor rooms and watched you until you were finally out of sight. Fresh tears slowly rolled down his pale cheeks. There goes another one. Maybe I should just stop trying. Aw, bad end. Oh, no. Oh, that's sad. Okay, well, I think those were... I mean, I'm assuming we got the good ending the first time. It didn't say good end. I don't know. If I did it wrong, then I'm sorry. This was cute. I did like this, though. I feel bad for Cyrus. I just want to give him a hug. Speaking of, like, ghost stories and hidden mansions, I'm gonna continue keeping this going because I actually had... I'm gonna tell you a story about a dream I had once. And so, like I told you, I really like urban exploring, and it's just a big passion of mine. Well, I had a dream that I had gone urban exploring, and I found this mansion out in the middle of the woods, but it was more like a swamp. Like, the outside was flooded, and the house was practically flooded too. Like, up to your knees it was flooded. But I made my way in, and once I got in, the house was like, it was fine, it wasn't flooded anymore, which was surprising because the whole thing was literally soaked into the ground. Whatever, that doesn't matter. I could even tell you this, that the basement wasn't flooded either, though it should have been. And anyway, I made my way in. I ended up in one of the rooms, and there was just a ghost there, and it was a ghost boy. It wasn't Cyrus. It didn't look like Cyrus. I don't actually remember what he looked like, but he didn't have a name either. And I didn't know he was a ghost at the time, but he was there, and he was like, "What are you doing here?" And the house looked really nice for it being half flooded outside. It looked like it was in great condition. I'm like, "Oh, I've got my camera, I'm here to take photos." And he was just like, "Oh, okay, have fun." And so I was walking around, and he was in the kitchen. I came back, and he was just chilling on one of the countertops. And he was like, "Well, are you going to take photos of the kitchen?" I'm like, "I guess." It doesn't look very sturdy, though. Like, the floor kind of looked rotted or whatever. And he's like, "Oh, trust me, it's safe. That's how I'm here. It's how I'm sitting right here. I'm fine." So I stepped out onto the floor, and it, like, cracked underneath me and collapsed. It collapsed in. And the only source of light I had, I should mention, was from my camera. I had a light on my camera. And, like, I was laying on the ground in the basement, which wasn't flooded. That's how I knew it wasn't flooded. On a bunch of rubble, my camera pointing up, shining the light, and the stove just slowly starts, like, slipping off the cracked floor and falls down and crushes me. And that's how I woke up. Like, the ghost literally killed me. He killed me. He tricked me into dying. And I'm like, what the hell? I think, like, there was more to the dream. I think he said something about, like, he kind of made me think he was lonely too. I don't know why he killed me. He just did it because then I was stuck in the manor too. But, like, I woke up after that. And, you know, that was one of my ghosty dreams. That's why I was really excited to play this game, because I'm like, oh my god, I had a dream like that. It was weird. It was very weird. I don't know. Dreams are weird. I could tell you 20 million weird dreams, and there still wouldn't be enough time in the world to talk about it, because I've had so many freaky dreams. Anyway, so that's all with Spectral Phantasy. I'm sorry if my dream was, like, just out of the blue, and you're like, what the hell, I don't care. You just want to see the game. Well, anyway, I told you anyway, and now you're stuck. You listened to it because you did. Ha! Alright, that's all. Thanks for watching. Cyrus is a cutie. I wish we could help him. Anyway, bye!